and welcome back to another episode of Come Over for Dinner. I am so glad you've joined us today. I have a very special guest. Her name is Faith. Welcome, Faith.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, tell us a little bit about you.
I am an old lady artist.
She is not an old lady
Well,
artist.
I'm getting there. I'm an old lady artist, and I'm a wife and mother, and I now live here in Moscow, Idaho, but I'm originally from the desert, and so that's kind of everything I do and say today is probably somehow influenced by being from a long line of pioneers and living in the desert. But yeah, now I live here way up north where I am writing and painting and raising kids and a wife of an entrepreneur. So yeah, that's what I'm up to these days.
Very fun.
Yeah.
So when you say desert, the Sahara?
It's close. The Sonoran Desert, actually.
Is that
is
in
officially
Arizona?
Yeah. So the Sonoran Desert is actually southern Arizona, a little bit of northern Mexico, and then I think a little tiny sliver goes into New Mexico. But it is the only official place where the saguaros grow. So if you see saguaro, which is kind of what everyone associates with the desert, they actually only grow in the Sonoran Desert.
Really?
Yes.
not know
I'm sure they blow here and there and people planted them, and it's also a federal crime actually to knock those over.
Really?
Yeah, and they take hundreds of years to grow. Anyway, so I'm a huge fan of the desert. That's where I feel most at home is in southern Arizona.
So is a lot of your art inspired by the desert?
Yeah, I would say a lot of art and what I write is very much influenced by generations of crazy people living there and pioneers living there and being in a close proximity to Mexico and being in close proximity to even places like Southern California. So yeah, very much so. I would say people, even my mannerisms and the way I speak and the vocabulary I use and the little bit of Spanish here and there, everything sort of, comes from there. Yeah.
Where you grew up.
Where I grew up,
Very
for sure.
fun.
Yeah.
So as an artist, you have a few claims to fame, or at least in my mind. I have heard tell that you have been featured, or some of your art has been featured.
Well, it hasn't
on
really been
HGTV.
featured, but it hasn't necessarily been featured. But my stuff has shown up a lot of places. I'm really grateful. I'm grateful that people have invested in my art. I don't sell prints. I only sell original pieces. And so for those pieces to be used by designers like Leanne Ford or Nate Berkus even on different projects they've had has been really, really cool. And then to be in a couple magazines and have some shows, mostly in Arizona, and then actually did have one small show in Dallas has been just really cool. Not featured, always in the background. But it's like, oh, wait, there's my piece. But I do sell, that's not true. I do have prints with Juniper Prints House, which is an amazing place, actually also out of Arizona. But they sell all over, and your listeners might know who they are. But the cool thing is they sell digital downloads, but also large prints of specific artists. And there's not very many artists. I think now they do a lot of museum prints. But I do get a small royalty check from them every month, which I'm grateful for. Very small, but that's nice.
Yes.
And so there are a lot of folks that have used that because it's an affordable way to put a piece in their house. But I would like people to invest in original pieces. So it's a lot more fun that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then you really, truly have one of a kind.
Yeah, and
not
you do.
a print that's been duplicated hundreds of times.
And it just doesn't look as nice. And it's nice to have a piece that's got real paint on it and there's some effort and there's some thickness. And even if I commission something similar for someone, let's say, oh, I love the painting you did for so-and-so, I'd like something similar, and I do something the same. It's always just a little bit different. And I think that's really neat. It's more of an investment for people.
Sure.
Or I'd hope it would be.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
And then it's something they can pass along to, when they pass on to their kids or something, and it's a very unique piece.
Right.
So when you are featured in the background of HGTV, do you happen to just see it, or does a friend?
Yeah,
see it,
usually someone
recognize
sees
you?
it. Usually someone sees it, or it comes across in an Instagram screenshot or a post or something like that.
That is
So
very fun.
yeah, it's really fun. Yeah, it's really a fun thing. It's not happening as much anymore because I'm kind of shifted to writing. But I do have a new, can I do a shameless plug?
Sure,
I do have new pieces coming out I noticed a typo, but they're coming out November 15th. So I'll have a next new round of paintings coming up and a rebranded website, and that's faithchristiansonsmeets.com, and we can write it somewhere so we can get the spelling right. But
for sure.
So I'll have a new load of paintings up, original pieces, and then also I've been writing there. So it's kind of funny.
So it's a blog and a store?
Yeah.
Oh, very fun.
Yeah, I used to have a blog back in the day and sort of stopped writing because the internet shifted and bloggers became a thing. And I don't know, it just wasn't something I was interested in doing. Yeah. And I was doing, at the time I was working in the political field, I was working for a public affairs firm doing political campaigns. And I started it then. And anyway, I just was like, this is not really the people. This is a my scene. Mm-hmm. So I stopped writing, which I shouldn't have done. Right. In hindsight's 2020, I shouldn't have done it. And so I've kind of restarted it. A lot of it's humor. I wouldn't say it's very serious. You're not going to get any tips on meals or DIY projects on there. I'm not going to be dissecting a Bible verses. Like, I'm not going to be doing any of those kinds of things. Most of it's storytelling. But
well, that's very. You have to have things like that to read as well. You want some lighthearted things that just encourage you and make you laugh and that sort of thing. So when you are hosting family, of course, but friends also, when you have guests coming over, what is one of your favorite menus you would serve?
Well, first of all, we have lots of guests.
That's amazing.
And families staying in our house. I think there was only one 24-hour period which we did not have people staying at our house this summer. So and I'm not exaggerating. So we have a full-time job of hosting. Unfortunately, I am not a chef or a cook. That's just not something I have ever cared about doing. But
you're much better at painting.
I'm much better at the entertaining part. But what I do love to do is two things to serve a meal, to make sure is, again, because my roots are sort of in the Southwest, we do like to do Mexican food. And one of the things that we like to make is machaca beef. And machaca, it's so easy to make. It's, it's three things you throw in a crock pot. It's beef and peppercorns and shallots and water and salt. And you stick that in a crock pot. Mm-hmm. You stick that in a.
Never made this.
Yes, and you pull it apart, and then you serve it with fresh salsa, which we can put up on your site as well as how to do that, which I learned from my tío Benjamin, my uncle Benjamin, who was married into our family and grew up in northern Mexico. And so he makes the kind of food, which Sonoran Mexican food, which is very specific to, that is comforting to me and feels like home and tastes like home. And it's usually a crowd pleaser and it's really easy. Yes. And then the beef and then fresh homemade salsa, which my husband makes. It's incredible. I actually do know how to make that as well. And serving that with tortillas and beans. And it's really simple. And it's so easy, but it is amazing. Yeah. And then people, the thing that's great about having a lot of people is you want people to be able to kind of tailor the food how they want it when you're serving, when you're not just having a couple over for dinner, but you're having all of their kids or all different ages and stages of life and all different kinds of people. It's nice to have something that they can shift themselves in buffet style, but also have something kind of special that they probably don't usually make at home. That's not something
that's definitely not something I would have made.
Yeah. I don't think people usually make homemade salsa and this kind of specific beef. But you pull it, it's kind of like almost like a pulled pork, but it's beef. Beef. And so we make that. That is kind of our go-to. It's easy to make. It's kind of always in season. It can taste light for summer, but it can be heavy for winter. It doesn't hold to any one season.
Right.
So we do a lot of that. But I think before people come over, and usually because I feel like we have so many people stay with us, the food shifts sometimes to just snacks in the guest room. I like to make a mini bar in the guest room.
Oh, that's very fun idea.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have it's like a vintage metal, I wouldn't know what you call it, like a tray, like almost like an old school toolbox. The toolboxes that are just the two triangles with the lid on top or the handle that goes across. Yes. I don't know if I can imagine that. But anyway, I
do know what you're talking about. Open.
Yeah, it's like an open toolbox and it just has a bar, like garden shed box, toolbox. I don't know what the official name is for that, but I have one of those. and I stick it on the dresser in the guest room. And I always make sure that there's things there. So sparkling water, regular water bottles, usually like a smaller can of Coke or Sprite, some kind of, fun drink like that. I have there's these drinks that help you sleep called Som, and you can get sugar or no sugar in them. So if someone's traveling or they have jet lag or they're just having trouble sleeping in a new bed, which I have all the time, it's really hard for me to sleep other places.
Yes.
It's so nice for people to be like, oh, and then I put a little thing, earplugs in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because someone's staying with you.
There's all kinds of background noises.
And there's new noises. We have dogs. We have one of your dogs. We have dogs that click, 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 click.
Yes.
On the floor. And we live in an old house that was built, I just found out was built actually in like the 1890s.
Really?
Yeah. And so it's loud.
A lot of the older homes didn't have the insulation that modern homes have.
Right. And they're just wood and nails,
yes.
which is loud. If you've ever walked on a platform of just wood and nails,
yes.
It's loud. And that's what the walls are made of.
Do you ever put a fan in the room for background white
You know what?
noise?
It's funny. I don't, but I have a noise machine, and I put it in
would be the same.
Yeah, same kind of thing, because I don't have a ceiling fan in there, and I put it in the dresser in the drawer, and I let people know, hey, if you need noise, we can go ahead and plug this in.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So just a little sound machine at some point in time, but it could be white noise if they were having trouble falling asleep.
Yeah. So I have white noise, something to fall asleep, earplugs, fruit candy, chocolates. I usually have a couple bags of popcorn in there. If they're coming from out of town, and it's a big deal because we live in Huckleberry World up here, which is new to us for being new to the Pacific Northwest. It's new to you. Yeah. And that's kind of a special thing. So I usually put something Huckleberry in there for people to.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And if I know they're wine drinkers, I will put a bottle of wine and 2 wine glasses in there. So they don't have to come out and go into the kitchen if they need something. I guess that's the idea. You can be comfortable in your room and feel like you can get a snack
or have a bottle of
wine, eat the popcorn in bed. I don't care. Yeah. Eat chocolate in bed. I don't care,
Right.
Like actually get comfortable.
Cleaned up later.
Yeah. Clean it up. Yeah.
So the drink you mentioned, spell it for me.
Som. It's SOM.
SOM.
And this comes in little,
like a health food store?
No, you can. Oh gosh, you can just get it at a regular grocery store, and they're just little small cans, like slim. Yeah, and you can get a sugar-free option and another option.
I've seen it and just walk right by it.
Right. So it's kind of like giving someone, I guess, a melatonin too. I guess you could do that as well. But I like having our guests feel like when they close the door, if they need time. Let's say they just need time. They're introverts. Or they just need time from travel, or they've got jet lag, or they've got a baby they're nursing, or whatever the situation is, and they just need private time. It just gives people a space like an actual hotel room, even though it's a room in our home.
Right.
It makes them feel like they can be shut in there, and they don't need to keep coming to me if they need something. I also have a little medicine drawer in there where I have Tylenol and ibuprofen and feminine hygiene things, and a little sewing kit, just so people don't feel like they have to be constantly badgering you. Sometimes it's uncomfortable when you stay somewhere. And do you have a needle? And do you have this? Oh, I'm allergic to that. Do you have that?
I know.
I don't feel good.
I've stayed places because sometimes you forget something, or if you brought too many ounces, they'll throw it in the trash at the airport. Exactly. I've stayed at people's homes that have a little drawer like that and has like a little toothpaste or an extra toothbrush or something, just a little spot of things, because inevitably you do forget something.
Exactly.
Or I was recently, when I flew, I was in the airport, and this poor little lady in front of me, she had this nice Ziploc bag. She'd remembered to do the clear Ziploc bag of all of her toiletries, but it was a full-size toothpaste, a full-size lotion. I don't know what all was in there, but they chunked it all in the trash. I felt so bad for her. Yeah. It was a little bit older lady.
But, anyway, that makes me feel sad. I'm always at the airport thinking those kind of things. I put a whole jar. One problem I have had, if I do travel, by the way, if you host me for dinner, if you serve this to me, I would be happy, is just crunchy peanut butter. Oh, I've had such a hard time around here to find crunchy peanut butter. Now there's Skippy or there's something, but it's just natural with nothing added crunchy peanut butter. And I cannot find it in grocery stores here. And so I got some in Phoenix and was flying it, and I forgot that one was in my suitcase, and they dumped it, and I almost cried. I was, oh no.
Okay, I have ordered Smuckers because that's what I always had in the South. I've ordered Smuckers from Walmart, and it's free shipping. But I've gone into Winco here, and they do inside the store have that Adams brand.
Yeah, but Adams is terrible.
Is it terrible?
I know. I buy it because
What's
it's
your
what I have.
brand that you like?
It's Laura Scudder's.
I don't even know that brand.
SCUDDERS. And
now I have to try to find it.
Yeah, it's really good. If next time I fly, I might just get some and ship it back. And yeah, it's been interesting to like shift products when you move somewhere. It's funny.
It is, because when you move somewhere else, all the brands are different.
Yeah.
The grocery stores are different. It feels like you're just, I know that when I first started shopping here, I would wander through the grocery stores and literally 2 hours later emerge. Because I couldn't find anything.
You can't find anything and you're totally thrown from your routine, right? You know what to do. Like, for example, we're talking about hosting. I know, okay, someone's coming over tomorrow night for dinner, or someone's coming over. Let's get real. I never shopped the day before. Someone's coming over tonight. It's usually a tonight thing with me. I need pressure to perform, right? So it's like someone's coming over tonight. I've got to change out the duvet covers, put new sheets on, make sure everything's stocked in the bathroom, in the guest bathroom, and make sure everything's, the mini bar situation's fixed. And the other thing I always make sure is to have extra blankets. Being cold in the middle of the night at someone else's house, I cannot imagine anything worse. It is the worst. I am always cold. And so for me, it's just awful.
It is the worst because you can't get warm enough to fall asleep.
Yeah. And then you don't sleep all night. And the next day you feel awful and you don't want to complain because someone's, hosting you and you're grateful to have the bed and the pillow under your head. But anyway, so last minute I'm running around and at the grocery store, you know exactly what you need to get, right? Like I know exactly what to go get these, the dishes, the 5 things I need for the meal tonight. I always get really large flour tortillas for the machaca beef. And then I always have corn for people who are gluten-free and kind of, need to do that. And by the way, this is a great meal for people who do have food allergies because the salsa is fresh. There's rarely anyone who's allergic to a tomato, for example. And so it's all fresh ingredients that most people, I would say, are not allergic to. There's no seed oils. There's no, like gluten in the corn tortillas. There's no, no peanuts, dairy. Right? There's no what I'm saying. No dairy. Right. Exactly. So all of the things, this is a safe meal. If you've got kids or adults coming over with food allergies, it's kind of great. Or on some kind of like, they're on keto diet or something. They can eat, I put enough things out where they can eat the machaca and put lettuce and cheese and other things with it to make almost like a taco salad. And then they don't have to eat, tortilla chips or corn tortilla or flour tortilla or whatever.
So what are all the things you serve it with? You mentioned tortillas and beef and salsa.
Right. So I do the machaca beef. So kind of what goes with it. The main dish is the machaca beef. And then I do refried beans. But I also do black beans.
Do you do canned or make your own?
I do not make my own. My Tio makes his own. I do not do that. My sister-in-law also makes her own.
But a time saver would be just grabbing your favorite brand.
Yeah, I always do the same Rosarito. I don't even know what it is. It's the one with the woman on the can. What is it? Rosaritos. Yeah, but I don't get low sodium. I don't get anything. I just get traditional things. And so beans and then black beans. So black beans, refried beans, the beef, corn tortillas, the salsa, and then if I can get the right kind of the right kind of cheese that you can sprinkle on it, I'll get that, and then just regular sort of shredded cheese, cabbage. We serve cabbage with it and not lettuce. But if I know someone's coming over that is eating keto or has some kind of allergy, I use just iceberg lettuce, chopped up iceberg lettuce. But I use cabbage with machaca beef in a tortilla because that's how we grew up eating it. And then that's it, really. And sometimes we have sour cream. And delicious. Sometimes we have sour cream. My family has a lactose problem, so we don't usually have it in the house. But if I remember, I'll grab a tub at the grocery store and put it in. Put it in one. And then I'm a huge proponent of you don't serve things in the container you bought them in the store. So
cute little bowl.
Yes, I have bowls that match and the serving spoons and things like that. So it's set up. And so, when you invite someone over into your home for dinner, you want them to feel like special to me. I mean, that's why you invited over. Now, if you're having friends over last minute, whatever, just grab your paper plates. But I want people when they walk in to feel like we are ready for you. We're prepared and we've made an effort because we love you or we're invested in you or we want to get to know you. And I think when you do those little things, it tells people that it said, oh, they spent the afternoon getting ready for us. And this is important. And we're here and we're kind of a valuable part of this experience we're about to have. And so a little bit of the extra mile, like setting the table before they get there, having your dishes out, I think is just really nice to do.
And that way you can eat pretty quick if the food's
Yes.
hot.
Yes.
You don't have to stop and set plates. And
and it just and it just symbolizes we're ready for you. I think that sometimes we take advantage of, or we selfishly think our time is more important than others. So we're not on time or we're not prepared for when people come over. Now, of course, the last minute things come up. People are late. Someone has football practice. I mean, there's always the regular life things. But if I can, I like to make the effort, even if it's more than I usually do for my own family. But because it says, hey, your time is important.
Yes.
Your time is important.
And families, if you're talking about every single night, they are very busy with school and sports practices and all of that. So sometimes you are plugging in some paper plates or something on the run.
Exactly.
But like you're saying, if you have invited guests over and you know they're coming, you have time to prep for them.
Yeah. And and I want to say, hey, and you took time out of your day or your night to get out of your schedule to come over and be with us. We want you to feel like you're the priority. And so I think doing the little things in the guest room and making sure your bathrooms are clean, making sure your dog is put away, because not everyone likes dogs. Even, I mean, just the littlest things, I think makes people feel more comfortable when they walk in the door. And it makes you say, yes, you're in my space, but this space is also yours for this time. We're holding space for you right now. It's not just about what we want to do or say or eat. But anyway, back to the food, the dish. To me, that's a comforting meal.
Part.
Yeah, that's a comforting meal.
Yes.
It's warm. It's fun. It's flavorful, and it's easy for the hostess to prep while we're cleaning and doing all the other things in the background.
Quick question on the cabbage. Do you just serve cabbage cut, or do you turn it into coleslaw?
No. Oh, yeah. You have Southern girls. I should tell you that. No. Just straight cut.
Always turn our cabbage.
I know you turn it. By the way, I love
involved.
coleslaw. I love mayonnaise and I love coleslaw. So anything with mayonnaise and coleslaw in it, I'm going to eat.
Right. But this is
hands down.
cut cabbage.
This is just cut cabbage. This is like shredded cabbage.
Or green.
I use purple usually, but if I can't get it, green's fine. But I usually use purple, and it's you shred it. Not too thin. Not too thin. You want to have the crunch.
But you want to have some crunch.
You want to have some crunch.
Which you would have more crunch, not turning it into coleslaw.
Right.
So.
But again,
I do see the point.
This is not an anti-coleslaw.
Right. You could totally do coleslaw and it would work.
Totally. And the other thing you can do, which if you really want to go at it, and it's fun, is do roasted corn on the cob, which is another very like Mexican street food, which you can get in all different parts of Mexico, which you then sprinkle with. Well, there's all different things you can put on it. Some put crema, like a cream. Some put tahini on it. I mean, there's different things that you can go ahead and put on.
Do you also
the corn,
roll it in like cojita cheese?
And you can sprinkle. We usually just sprinkle it on the top to make it easier. But we usually, it just depends on how you want to serve it. If you don't have time to do the whole kind of ordeal, you just roasted corn with a little cottage cheese on the top with pepper and salt is fine.
That sounds delicious.
Well, of course, rolled in butter. I do not want to forget the rolled in butter part. Oh my gosh.
How do you roast yours?
Just in the barbecue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, and then you've got, corn on the cob, and you've got beans and your meat and, your tortillas and all those things. But growing up, my Tio wouldn't let us prepare our plates. He's very particular. So he would prepare our plates for us. And he always put, all of his beans had a lot of cheese in them.
Ooh, that is my kind of meal.
It's delicious. And he had homemade beans. They've been cooking for a couple of days. So they're incredible.
Sounds amazing. Yeah.
My Tio would make our meals for us. Tio means uncle in Spanish. So my uncle would make our plates for us. So you have the beef, which was cooked in the crock pot. So it's easy, right? And it's like 4 things. Throw it in a crock pot. It's done. It's cooked all night. You're done with that. You make the fresh salsa right before. Lots of chopping, but if you have a Cuisinart or you have something, what are those called? What are those? Your chopper thing.
Oh, Rachel, when she was on here, she recommended those. It's Full Star.
Oh.
I think it was called, and it's literally like a thing you pull down, and it has a grid, and it just chops.
Oh, and it
the
just
whole
chops.
thing instantly.
Yeah, Rachel's a professional. I'm an amateur.
You're talking about like a Cuisinart
Like
food chopper.
Yeah, like a
with
food
blade.
processor. Like a food
Yes,
processor,
a food
right?
processor.
Yeah, a food processor.
That has a chopper.
Yeah.
Too.
So it's easy to make salsa. You put all the ingredients. It's tomatoes, onions, white onions,
to
white onions.
make
only.
a salsa, yeah.
To make a salsa, right?
Easily throw that into a food
lime,
processor.
lemon, juice, salt, some jalapeno.
Or a blender or something.
That's
Depending
it.
on how.
Blender's a little too much though.
Okay.
Because it becomes too much of like a
It's
liquid.
more of a liquid.
This
That's
is
true.
more of a pico de gallo, so it's more like a chopped situation. So anyway, you have your meat that's been cooking in the crock pot. You have your fresh salsa, which is easy. You can get those ingredients anywhere. And then you have corn tortillas, flour tortillas, roasted corn, the coheted cheese, cabbage, or lettuce. That's about it. I mean, really, it's what it is. Sometimes sour cream, but not all the time. And that's it. So you've set that up, right? But my uncle would put his refried beans, black beans, refried beans, but the refried beans, he would put cheese in. So there, and then
makes
you would
them
put
delicious.
it in a right, which makes it 10 times better. And then you would just stick it in a tortilla, and that's it.
Oh, so bean tortillas.
Just bean burrito,
alongside- or a bean burrito.
Just a bean burrito. Bean burritos make everyone happy. We just had over like a whole crew of fourth grade boys. No, they're fifth grade at this point. I don't know, 10, 15 boys. And I just made them bean burritos.
and they devoured them.
They devoured them. And all of these, I will have to say, all of these kids have moms who can really cook. I mean, that are just they're making them gourmet meals every night. Chef's kiss situation. And I'm thinking, we're making bean burritos.
Right.
But then one of the kids come up and said, yeah, but your mom makes the best bean burritos. And it just, I was soaring high all day.
It warmed your heart.
It warmed my heart. I felt like I had won the lottery that day because some kid had told me that I made good bean burritos. But yeah, it's because also I heat up the tortilla on my open stove. Mm-hmm. I feel like heating up in a pan, it doesn't give it that authentic feel. I want a little bit of a little charred, like it's on an open flame situation. So I toss and turn them over my gas stove.
Well, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
I have a very funny story. Speaking of a person telling you you're so great at something, when they first was kind of a new thing, when the hamburger helper came out and it was like all the rage.
Yeah.
I tried the cheeseburger macaroni.
Yeah.
And
there's only one good kind of those, in my opinion.
Cheeseburger. Which one is it?
The beef stroganoff.
Beef stroganoff.
Right?
Is decent, yes.
It's got to be the best one out of the bunch.
Yes. That's when it first came out. I haven't done it or used those for a very long time, but those were the two I would make.
Yeah.
Beef stroganoff or cheeseburger macaroni. So when my kids were little, same type deal. We had lots of friends over and I had made a couple of boxes of cheeseburger macaroni thinking I need a kid crowd pleaser.
Right.
Wasn't maybe a few hours later, the mom calls and is like, I have to have your recipe. My son just keeps going on and on about how great you're doing. I about fell through the floor.
I know.
Like, do
so
I have
awful.
to admit it was from a box?
Well, and that's why I can't brag about anything. I can just say, did you like the mini bar in your room? Because I am not a cook. So I'm just hoping that you got some sleep, your earplugs are in, you got some good sleep. I have some reading lights in there. You got to read your book.
You're comfortable.
You're
well-fed.
You had your own shower.
Your own
You had Band-Aids. You had your own space. You had a glass of wine if you wanted. And so when you get up and the food's not great, it doesn't matter. You feel like you had a good.
I'm sure your food is amazing.
No, then they had a good stay.
Fast forward a few years, I will have to post this because it is another huge crowd pleaser or kid pleaser. We found a homemade hamburger helper recipe online, and so it's noodles and ground beef, but you make your own sauce.
Which ground beef and noodles and anything kids are going to eat, really, right? Any form of that.
It's just delicious, and so it's very simple. It's a one-pot meal, and it's definitely better than the box. It's so easy to make.
Though everyone says one-pot meal. I am so. Oh, it's just a one-pot meal. And it's never, becomes, it's always 75 dishes and it's like one pot, but you have to sizzle and slice and do all these things in 4 other different pans. And then you have to do all these different things. And then you've got to wash this out and then you've got to measure.
Especially if you have to cook the noodles separate or something like that. But I really do think, I don't promise this, but I really do think that you brown your ground beef, drain it, then you put all your sauce ingredients in and then throw the noodles in there without, they cook cook.
And that's really a one
as
pot
it
meal.
simmers. I really think it is, but don't hold me to this.
Okay, I want
haven't made
where
it in a
I
while.
know where I know with the serving like a Mexican dish, which actually is really complex. Like their cuisine's actually a very complex cuisine. Their ingredients are actually complex and aren't always available. And there is such a varied in variety, same word. There's such a large variety of flavors in Mexican cuisine, and there's all different regions of Mexico that are using all different kinds of ingredients that are local to them. That, you know, I feel like having just 5 dishes is not doing service to a good Mexican meal, or like 5 different sort of toppings or situations going on the table. But I will say that cooking the meal is not a huge cleanup situation. All that deep diving into Mexican cuisine, which I put on a pedestal and think is the best food in the world. That to say, it's not taking me as many dishes to make it.
Right.
Right. It really is like the crock pot, heating up the beans and then cutting stuff up and putting it in some bowls. The dishes are minimal. Yeah, it's one dishwasher load. You know, the dishes are minimal.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a whole ordeal.
Overwhelming bomb that goes off in the kitchen.
Right. Not at all. Not at all. It's not over. And the machaca, if they don't eat it, it freezes really well, and you can keep eating it. But yeah, it's simple. The cleanup is simple.
Speaking of cleanup, do you have any particular tips that you would pass along regarding cleanup, or just making cleaning easier, or routine, or how do you, I know you said you like to shop at the last minute.
Yeah, everything last minute.
Do you also clean at the last minute?
I do clean at the last minute. I do that mad dash. But what I do is, like a couple days before I know people are coming over, again, for extended periods of time, not just for dinner, but if people are coming and staying at my home, probably 2 days prior, I start doing deep cleaning. And I do a lot of wiping and vacuuming and sort of preparing, because what I love about that is you have to clean your house anyway, right? Is you've prepared for the guest. They've come, they've eaten. I do 2 things. One, I do not clean up right away after guests have eaten, because this is my opinion. I mean, this isn't, this isn't everyone's opinion, but I feel like it kind of forces people out of your home when you start cleaning and fixing up. It makes, to them, it's a social sign that you're done and we're done for the evening and we've closed up shop.
That's a good point.
And so I don't hurry up. And now if you're serving dessert and you just want to clear the table so that we can put dessert plates out, or we're putting wine glasses out, or there's another course, we've moved from soup to salad or whatever it is, right? Or sandwiches, or a bigger, thicker meal.
Versus like
I'm stacking the dishes. I don't load the dishwasher. I do not open the dishwasher while guests are over.
That's a good point.
I just think it's rude. Now if someone did it to me, I'm not offended if I go to your house and you open the dishwasher. But what it tells me is we're done here. Having the dishes clean is more important than our conversation. Having dishes clean is more important than you having maybe another round of food. Maybe you're still hungry. Maybe you waited all day because you were busy to eat at my house. I want you to have 3 helpings of everything.
Right. And enjoy the conversation.
And enjoy it.
With your company who's about to walk out the door. I mean, they're
going to leave.
Very long.
Yeah, they're not there for very long. And the fact that in this busy life we lead, we can sit and have a meaningful meal with each other and converse is so important. And I think that it's missing a lot in people's lives. And I think one of the reasons my life feels full is not necessarily because my schedule is full, but because I do leave time and I make time and I want time for people to come and be together and to fellowship with Ryan and I, with my husband and I, and the kids. And some of our favorite nights are just when people come over and they stay late. But anyway, if you're cleaning up all your dishes and you're doing all the things, that says, hey, we're done here. See you later. We've got other things to do. We want to go to bed early. We're done. Now, if they just get up and they say it's time for us to go, that's fine. They don't have to stay all night. Right. And then I'll do a round of dishes. And what I do the first round of picking up before I go to bed. But more than likely, I actually don't clean till the next day. Because I'm tapped.
The dishwasher in the morning.
Yeah, I'm tapped out. I've run around all day. I've done all the dishes. I've cleaned things. I've communicated. I've made sure everyone's okay. I've prepared food, whatever it is, right? Ran in the last couple errands. And so I'm usually kind of spent by the end of the day. And then the social energy is spent too.
Yes. Well, and you have chosen the most important part of the hospitality. You think of the Mary and Martha story.
Yeah.
The one who was
Yeah.
sitting and listening and learning and just being a part of the conversation was the one who was praised.
Yeah, it's not so funny.
It's so easy to be the other one, just worried about
it's
when
so
you're the
easier.
hostess.
And I've been accused of that.
Oh, I
so many times
accuse myself of it because I just have that personality of, I don't know why I do that. Where it's just like, okay, well,
it's
let's
common.
get this orderly and let's move this out of the way as
Right.
if I'm doing it for the guests,
Right.
Like I want to make sure that all the dishes are out of their way and everything's stacked
and everything looks pretty.
Everything looks pretty and it's not, it's why you're not sitting down and enjoying them while they're there.
Right.
So yeah, like you said, clean later when they leave.
Yeah, I don't.
Start the dishwasher.
Yeah,
go to bed,
I'll clear the table. And the other thing that I do, and if people have come over to my house, they're like, "Oh, can I help with the dishes?" And I always say no. And one, it's because I hate dishes, and I don't want to do them at your house.
You're boycotting dishes.
I don't want to. I don't want to do them at your house. I have the night off, and I'm focused on other things, like paying attention to you. Now, if I can see someone is struggling and they've had a long week and things are tough, heck yeah, I'm going to do your dishes. I'm going to do your dishes. I'm going to mop your floors. Yeah. I'm going to take your kids to school. I don't mind doing chores at other people's house. It's kind of fun doing chores at someone else's house.
Right. It's better.
Right.
It's more fun.
It's more fun. Why is it? It's so fun. And so I don't mind doing that. But I think, again, this is just, opinion, but I would prefer to spend my time with you, and I don't want you to feel like you have to do chores at my house. Mm-hmm. You didn't come over to do my dishes. And some people are like, no, we want to contribute. We like doing it. And for someone who's kind of forceful about it, and maybe it's because they socially feel uncomfortable, they feel like it's their role and they feel really strongly about it and they continue to bring it up in conversation. I mean, have at it. Mm-hmm. Like, here's the sponge, go for it. Right. Here's the dishwasher, go to town, lady. That's fine. Or, whoever it is. But I prefer for someone to not come over and clean up my house and just enjoy being over.
Right. Just sit.
Just enjoy being over. Just hang out.
Yeah. Learn about each other.
Learn about each other. Right. Move into the living room. Ask if they want coffee. Oh, that's the thing I had to learn about coffee. I don't drink coffee. I know. Don't give me that look.
You would think that up north, that's a big...
Yeah, but I didn't grow up up here.
After dinner. I know. I didn't
Right?
Either. Where we came from, Starbucks was the only coffee shop in town for years.
Wow, that's
cool. When Starbucks came to town, it was like...
Wow.
And
changed everything.
Yes. But there's 2 Starbucks in the town that I moved from. A few local places have started that are cute and fun. None of them survive.
Really?
They do not survive.
Really?
And maybe it's because it's not a college town. Or,
the college town thing helps.
Yes. Yeah. And just, it's hot. People just are not the same about coffee as they are up north.
Right.
So I've had to think that too. I try to offer decaf or regular because some people can't have regular at night.
Okay, but I just want to say though, they can't have regular at night, which is true, right? This is what I've learned from coffee drinkers and hosting coffee drinkers and being married and related.
Because I do not
Here's
know.
the secret. People who drink coffee want coffee all the time, no matter what, no matter where they are, no matter what time of day.
So you're serious coffee drinkers.
If you offer people coffee.
Decaf, actually. They think it's like a cuss word.
Exactly. If you offer coffee to any crew at your house, they will say yes. Mm-hmm. And I've always been like, oh, I don't have coffee. Because in my mind, it's summer, and so you're drinking iced tea. Oh, no, friend. Mm-hmm. People want coffee all the time, no matter what. And they never say no. Right. So this other thing I have, actually, is I have to-go coffee cups.
To-go coffee cups.
I have to-go cups.
Do you buy them from
bulk.
the store?
You can buy them in the store when it's seasonal. Like right now, I have ones, because it's Halloween, I have ones with skulls all over them. They're just black and white and they have skulls. And they have the to-go lid. Uh-huh. And so if people are at my house for lunch or dinner and they want a cup of coffee, I say, you know what, I can put in a to-go cup for you. And usually they say yes because they're they love it because they can refill on their way out.
And it's not $5 stop
it's not,
somewhere.
Right. It's not a $5 to $10 stop somewhere. 1 and 2, I'm not asking for a mug back or a travel mug back. So I buy those a lot. They're always stocked at my house.
That is a great idea.
And it takes up the same room as a cup, right? It's not taking up a ton of space in your house.
Right.
It's taking up the same as a drinking glass.
Sure.
Same amount of space in a cupboard. So I always have a stack of those. And then when I've got unruly children that are coming over, or even well-behaved children that are coming over, and let's say it's fall, like right now, I have apple cider, and I give them apple cider in their own to-go cups, and then they can run around with those, or they can take them when they leave our house, or they can throw them away and they're done, and it's just one less thing I have to worry about. Yeah, you can write their names.
If it's not black.
And kids love it. They feel special. Adults feel special. They're like, oh, I get a to-go drink. Yeah, it just makes people feel like they were loved on a little bit. So yeah, I do have a stash of those.
Very good tip.
It's part of the hospitality thing. Gosh, you have to get it out of me. I don't remember all these things. Yeah, so it's nice. The other reason why I clean a couple days before I do a deep clean, and I don't do a lot of cleaning the night before or try to, give the sign that we're done here, is because often I like to host a lunch either the next day or the day after, and I use all of the same things. So I'm just like washing the dishes and sort of picking up. But if I make enough food, I just add some more ingredients. I'm using the same food, the same decor on the table, the same china, like all of the same items, and then having a power lunch the next day. And then I hand them their coffee or their tea or their cider or whatever it is to go in a cup. And I've been able to kind of feed another round of women or people that are on the go. So I do that too.
Well, that is nice. A great idea to have enough to have leftovers, because then you also don't want to be in your kitchen cooking when your guests, especially if you have overnight guests.
Right.
I always try to have something in the freezer or like you're saying, leftovers.
Yeah, it's great.
Who wants to be cooking for 4 hours between
while someone's
breakfast
there
and lunch while someone's there?
Yeah, I always
could be
it's the
something
worst.
Fun, like visiting or going to a farmer's market or
or hanging out,
going to get coffee,
going for a walk.
And
if the whole time people are over, you're preparing food. Now, obviously, there's different people that. You have to really kind of feel it out, because some people love that. They love sitting in the kitchen together and preparing a meal together.
That's true.
My family's not like that. That's not how we are. Where everyone stays at the kitchen, one person sort of does what they're going to do, and then we all join. We're not sort of a collaborative chef family.
But ingredients.
Right. But some people love that, and that's part of their family culture and their family life, and they love it. But that's just not something I'm used to and have created in my own home. Mostly it's, we love you, we want to host you, and we're going to do everything to make your stay with us wonderful and feel like you're at home. And then we'll send you on your way.
I need to schedule a stay.
Yeah, you want to schedule a stay?
So I can check out.
My daughter might do a spa day with you. She loves you. She probably is like, oh, can we do spa day while she's here?
What does she do for spa day?
Oh my gosh. She has a whole scene set up. She has every kind of thing.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, she'll do it for you.
Not only do they have a mini bar, they have
a spa on hand. Yeah, their nails on. They'll get a facial. Yeah, totally. I do in the shower have 2 different kinds of shampoo and conditioner, and a body wash for men.
That's a good idea.
A body wash for women. So one for each, male, female, and then a shampoo and conditioner, and then I have what's his name? It's the most obvious thing. Dr. Bronner's soap. Oh, but I have Dr. Bronner's baby soap that has nothing in it. So again, if someone has skin issues or wants to take a shower and they don't like the shampoo or I don't know, whatever.
It's a non-allergic type.
Yeah, it's non-allergenic. It's easy. There's no smell. It won't bother their skin. And so I do have some of that in the guest shower so that people can feel like they have
That's a great idea. Yeah. And I try to keep an extra hair dryer. If you have
I have an extra hair dryer in there.
You have a guest bathroom, an extra hair dryer.
I have an extra hair dryer, extra towels.
Check to make sure you have toilet paper under the sink.
Oh my gosh, that's a big thing. That's so funny. We had guests last night, and they were like, "We don't," my daughter came out and said, "Mom, they don't have toilet paper." And I was like, "It's underneath there. It's in their cabinet." I always put extra. They just didn't open the cabinets, but I always put it right next to the toilet underneath.
I always do too. And then I don't know why I hadn't checked it, but I think it wasn't some dire emergency, but I did have someone say, "Where is the toilet paper?" I'm like, "Oh, it's right there under the sink." And I opened the cabinets, and lo and behold, there was nothing.
Yeah.
So,
that happens.
So I try to remember to check that before we have guests coming.
The other thing is when you have the last minute guest where you're not expecting someone and you don't want to say no, is I swear by just Clorox bleach wipes. So I have a tub of those, the kind of plastic container of those underneath it, so I can. Sometimes I'll say, oh, excuse me, I need to use the restroom. And I just go in there and I just wipe everything down. It takes about the same time as using the restroom. And I just seriously wipe the toilet, all over, wipe the floor, then take another one, do the sink, wipe off the faucets, make sure, straighten out the rug. And sometimes wipe the floor if there's anything there. Throw it in the toilet, flush it. And I'm
like, 2 minutes later, your bathroom's
right.
clean.
And 2 minutes later is my bathroom. So sometimes I do that.
And you can
I
close
that
the
trick.
shower curtain.
You can always close everything.
You don't have to have scrubbed the tub, scrubbed the
no,
inside of the toilet.
not at all.
You're right. I mean,
just a quick.
That's a great
or they're
tip
coming
to
in
have
5
Clorox
minutes.
wipes.
Yeah, Clorox wipes I always have in each bathroom, so I can do just the really quick wipe down because you don't want a female coming over and having to use it. You've had a bunch of little boys at your house all day. It's just it's awful. So I try to kind of clean. I learned that trick from my mom. She always has a little bit of cleaning supplies in the bath, and I think most people do. But it's a good reminder. Yeah, I can't scrub right now.
Right.
But I can wipe everything down quickly and
make it a clean spot.
Right. Clean spot. So, and then I always have clean towels in a drawer so I can, if someone needs a last minute shower or staying last minute, while they're in the shower, I can change out sheets. I'm whispering. I can change out sheets. Well, you kind of do the tricks of the trade, but yeah, it's fun and I always put books and magazines too. When you're bored or you have insomnia at someone's house, it's nice to have
something
to look at. And having the Wi-Fi password so your guests can get that.
Idea.
That's always a good
have
thing.
That posted on maybe a little
Posted or a little card, or just before they go to bed, you say, "Do you need anything? Would you like the Wi-Fi password?" I always ask.
Yes,
give it to them.
That's a great idea because if they're on a laptop,
on the laptop, or our service isn't great. Yeah, or your service isn't great. So it's nice to have just that option.
And then if they're pulling it out at midnight because they can't sleep, all of a sudden, oops.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have it. We have
and here I am in some strange house and I can't sleep. I also do one hard pillow and one softer pillow.
That is a great point. I have had the same thought about pillows. Because
pillows are a big topic for me.
Pillows should be a huge topic for everyone.
They should be.
Because hard pillows hurt some people's necks.
And some people love them.
And some people love them.
Yep.
Soft pillows, and it's vice versa. Some people need soft pillows.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way they can get comfortable, and other people hate them.
I know.
So I feel like a mixture.
I do one hard, and then I do a soft on top.
That is ideal.
Because you can remove the hard, you can remove the soft, or you can do combo. I'm a combo person myself. I like I'm the combo person. And then I only have 2 or 3 decorative pillows on the guest bed, but I hope that they use them if they are if people are uncomfortable. I hope that they can use.
Do you have a favorite brand of pillow?
I don't, but I do change them out often because I'm worried about allergies.
Do you wash your pillows?
I do not wash my pillows. I have allergy cases, like special cases to put over them for allergens, and then I just throw pillows away and get new pillows, and then I wash and bleach the allergen. Special pillowcases, the covers, and then I replace those, and then I put pillowcases back over.
I have pillows that I wash and dry you can dry on hot.
Yeah, and kills everything.
Kill everything.
Yeah.
But they aren't the regular. These are particularly from IKEA, and so instead of it being a big hard mass, so to speak. I mean, I have washed those too, but a lot of times they end up lumpy when they're lumpy.
Them. That's why I don't do it. Yeah.
They don't
wash right. Yeah.
And so
they're never the same.
They're never the same. These from IKEA have some kind of different feeling where it's maybe smaller pieces. But I've also had the thought of these are cheap.
Right.
And maybe they're too soft. I don't know.
Right.
I haven't come across the
but if you've got too soft, if you're sleeping at someone's house and you have too soft and your head just sinks and then it's like the pillow's little, you're just sinking in, you're almost disappearing. And your neck is trying to hold up your, face all night. So you're using your arms, to kind of prop yourself up. It's the worst. But I've been to hotels like that too. I mean, we were just talking about with someone else who I know is an amazing hostess recently about staying at hotels with bad pillows. I have a issue with pillows. I think pillows should be replaced often, and they should be, perfect, just the way you need them at home, because sleep is just so important. I'm not a good sleeper, and I struggle with insomnia. And so having a pillow that I can sleep on is super important.
That
so it's
you're
funny.
not having to drag through the airport.
Right. That I'm not having to drag through the airport. You know, you've read
I've read your,
oh gosh.
one of your blog posts
the worst.
About
the worst. People taking their public pillows.
Full-size pillow through the airport.
If you're listening and you've taken a full-size pillow to the airport and on the plane with you, shame on you.
In defense of those people, they can wash and dry the case potentially.
They never do. People,
if they do.
People who bring full-size pillows onto planes are not the same people that are conscious of the pillowcase
being
situation.
Washed as soon as they land.
Yeah, they don't. Or before they left, because your dirty pillow, they're like, what you're bringing up when they land. Yes. I'm talking about
when they're dragging it through the airport.
They've dragged it through. It's already laying in their disgusting bed. And then and I'm not even like a germaphobe or anything. I mean, I'm pretty gross. Okay. I'm just like, but you've already taken it from your private place, your private chamber of your home, which God knows what's happening there. And then you're dragging it through the airport. You're putting it through security, right, where everyone's got their shoes, all this nasty stuff.
It has to go through the conveyor belt.
It has to go in the conveyor belt. And even if it's like, well, I put it in a bin. You know what else is in my bin? My shoes that just walked all over the city.
You know how many times those bins have been used and never
washed? They've never washed. Of course
never.
For years, decades. Of course they don't wash. How do you think bed bugs get around? So anyway, they go in the conveyor belt. Then you're laying them all over the chairs all over in the airport, or you're walking them through to get coffee or a burger at the airport, which is, what it is. And then you go onto the plane, and then that pillowcase that has just gone through all of that trauma is then right next to my body and my face. And I have to smell it.
That's what made me
laugh so
much.
Like that. I'm done with these people.
That's what made me laugh, because I'm like, okay, well, it could be washed, when they land or whatever.
When they land.
But it's the point of these giant full-size pillows touching all the other passengers and being
people like, oh, you can wash a pillowcase,
pillow.
but it doesn't matter if they washed it. Let's say they washed it before they left their house,
which
just
they don't.
for point of the argument, which no one does.
Their bed.
Let's say, they're like, ooh, fresh pillowcase. Now I'm in the airport. Yeah, but then they drag it all through the airport and through the plane.
Funny.
And their dirty hands, and they've taken, and maybe they had to go to the bathroom. I don't know. So maybe it's in the bathroom too at the airport.
It would have to be in the bathroom.
Everyone pees before they fly. It's just disgusting.
It at some point has to be in the bathroom, because
it has to be.
Unless they have somebody traveling with them that holds it for them all the time.
And maybe they do. Let's say they do. Maybe they're like, you know what? No, I never take it in the bathroom. I always fly with someone. I mean, we can make all the arguments. And I'm like, okay, so you left your pillow freewheeling it, just out in the open in the airport, sitting on someone's stuff, someone else is clutching it. So now you have other people touching it, or it's on top of a suitcase that also got dragged all over Tarnation.
And went through the conveyor belt.
And by the way, that suitcase was probably just got pulled out of the bathroom, because someone wheeled it in there and then wheeled it back out. And then you're like, can you hold my pillow?
And then it cracks me up in the line, the security agent.
Yeah.
They sometimes, or maybe all the time, I don't know, but they have gloves on.
Right.
They don't change their gloves.
No, of course not.
So they have gloves, I guess, to protect themselves from your germs. But one of them one time was rifling through my food bag. And right before he got to mine, I saw him rifling through somebody else's bag. I'm like, okay, he's going to switch gloves for clean gloves before he goes through my food bag.
Right.
No, of course same gloves, I guess, that had touched 45 other people's food bags.
Oh, sure.
Or whatever he's searching.
All day long. And his nose and his face. Right? Like,
I'm glad.
And again, I almost sound hypocritical saying all these things, because I really like having my closets clean when people come over, and you're like, Faith, you just talked about Clorox bleach wipes and wiping things down when people come over. I mean, it might sound like I'm one kind of person. I'm actually kind of filthy. I've always been I was a dirty kid. I'm a dirty artist. I like to camp. I'm not weird about washing hands. If a fork falls on the ground, I'm going to pick up and use it. Like,
You're not a germaphobe.
I'm not a germaphobe. I relish in mess. Like, I'm fine with it. I can sleep on dirty laundry. I'm like,
the line.
But I draw the line at you bringing your mess into me that I don't get to decide on. Like, here's the deal. I didn't get to decide whether your dirty mess got to be in my face. It's like a personal choice thing. Like, I've decided I'm going to pick up the fork and eat off of it, right? Like, I have the fork falls on the ground. I've made the conscious choice of like, you know what? Yeah, a risk assess, right? Okay, I've assessed this risk. Yes, the fork's fine to me. I'm going to use it off the floor and I'm going to eat this food, and I've taken that risk. But whatever your pillow situation is, I have not decided that. Yeah. And I can't assess the risk because I can't ask all the questions.
Right.
Hey, lady sitting next to me, what's your life like? You know, what is where?
Have bed bugs?
Yeah. Do you have bed bugs? Where have you been? What do you do with this pillow? Like, I don't get to assess anything.
How many miles has this pillow flown?
Why does it smell like that? You know? Because everyone's got their own head smell, which you know.
What are your thoughts?
Dirty hair laying on their pillow. Just all the things.
What are your thoughts on neck pillows?
Oh, I'm all about the neck pillow.
Okay, see, neck pillows could be a safe, they're
it's
little
totally it's the best option.
Personal space.
It's personal space. You don't have to touch it. They usually don't use it in their bedroom.
Right.
It's something they just use for travel. They're easy to wash. Let's say someone never washes it. It's not touching me.
Right.
It's touching the seat.
In your airline
right.
seat.
It's touching the seat, but they wipe those down. They're supposed to be wiping those down. But yeah, just your own giant queen size pillow is just, it also just tells me like you're the laziest person in the world. You know, it's just,
I will not.
Like you're wearing, those people are wearing.
Deny if I have carried a pillow in the airport.
What I'm also saying is you probably, did you wear pajama pants while you're carrying it? Because most people who are holding this pillow are also wearing pajama pants. To the airport.
And slippers potentially.
Yeah, or some kind of like a tennis shoe, which is fine, which is what you should be wearing.
One tip on pillows, which I will not carry. I actually have carried. My son has a Cowboys neck pillow, and I'll be stomping through the airport.
Oh, I'd wear it. Yeah, just to be comfortable.
Somebody was saying something about the team, like, I don't know, go Cowboys.
Yeah.
I didn't
See, the neck pillow can bring people together.
Yes.
A neck pillow can bring people together. No one's going to say, hey, nice lumpy queen pillow that you slept on last night.
There's no camaraderie. With
there's no community building off over that.
If I can find it, I'm not sure if it's still sold, but I had a friend years ago research like the best pillow.
Right.
And it's another one you can wash and dry because the inside was not a big lump. And I have had it for years. It is so comfortable. If I can find it, I'll post it.
Yeah.
But I wash it and dry it all the time.
Yeah. And that's the thing about travel pillows is they usually come in a traveling case, which protects it. Right. So when you put it through the conveyor belt or you have to lay it down because you got to dig through your backpack or your purse or your carry-on and it hits the floor, it's not the end of the world because it's been protected. Most of them have a little case. And if they don't have a case, put it in a bag. Put a plastic bag, any kind of bag.
A Walmart bag or something.
Any bag, you can stick it. You don't have to spend a ton of money. Put it in a bag. And then when you take it out, it's clean. You can put it near your face and your head and your neighbor. We're talking about, the other people in our environment, not just us. They don't have to deal with whatever it is, the stank or the, your hygiene issues.
The
unwashed pillow. Or the space issue, like it brushing up against you. And then you put it back in your little case and you stick it in your bag and you walk off the plane.
It stays clean.
Yeah, it's fine.
This pillow I'm talking about, they had a full size and a travel. It was small enough. It wasn't a neck pillow, but it was small enough that you could put in your suitcase.
That's what I have.
In case you couldn't be comfortable at somebody else's home. Because if you have trouble sleeping on somebody else's pillows.
Oh my gosh, please try to find this.
I will try to find it.
Because that is a big deal for me.
Mm-hmm. So it's a small little rectangle, but it just was so comfortable because you can kind of get it.
Right.
No, it just really. So I have a couple of friends who have that and they carry it everywhere, but it's small enough to put in there.
I'm telling you, you get to a certain age where you're like, I need sleep and I can't go. Yeah, I can't go a night like this without
sleep or with your neck.
Right. And again, to bring it back, that's why I'm so sort of cognizant of those issues when people come to stay with me. I think about all the hotels. This is the best way to start when you have guests. What were my favorite hotels and why? Mm-hmm. And if you've never stayed in a 5-star hotel or even a 4-star hotel or a place that you enjoyed, when did I stay at someone else's home and I had the best night's sleep? Like, what about it made me feel that way? And for me, it was quiet, a good pillow, extra blankets, earplugs, right? Like, those were the things that made, and also blackout curtains or windows, so there was nothing leaking. But those were kind of, and the other thing was getting up in the middle of the night and being able to get a glass of water or a drink and not knowing where people's things are and the sink and the water and it's unfamiliar and it's 2:00 in the morning and you don't want to wake anybody up. And that's why I do put the water and the snacks in the room.
That's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Such a great idea. What is your must-have kitchen item? Speaking of the kitchen.
Okay. My must-have kitchen item is This is a good question because I
You
don't.
have lots.
No, I don't have any really particular
Nothing that
things.
stands out.
No, no. The only thing I do love having is I love having a bowl of fruit, which sounds like that's not a must-have kitchen item. But I like having a bowl out with fruit and vegetables. Mm-hmm. And I have it year-round, and I have it no matter what, because it tells me and my family that there's food, mm-hmm. which I think is comforting and feels safe, mm-hmm. that there's always something to eat, right? You can always grab an apple, you can always grab a pear, you can always grab a banana, either you can always grab something to eat. It reminds people to eat in a sort of a healthy way.
And it's an instant snack.
It's an instant snack.
You're having trouble making it till dinner time.
Exactly. And I'm an artist, and my environment and how things look and feel is so vital to how I function. So seeing that, it's always beautiful. It's never bad. No. I never look at a bowl of fruit and think, ugh. I usually that's pretty. Or I like those colors. Or and put it in a bowl you love and care about. The bowl that I have is an artist named Tate Rich, who's a potter in Southern Arizona, who's a friend, gave me this bowl. And so it means more, obviously, to me. And it's one of those, if there was a fire, it's one of those things I want to grab. But I like the idea that your kitchen counter is clean and the bowl of fruit says, this is where we eat, this is where we gather, and this is pretty.
Yes. And you can grab any of this anytime.
Yeah. And it's open for it's open season. And when it's out, I always then can take stock of it. I always know what I have. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're out of apples. We need lime. People are coming over. They want cocktails. I'm out of limes. People are coming over. We need lemons. People, I need another onion for dinner or whatever it is. So I always like have an idea of what I have going on in the produce department when it's out on my counter. And I don't like a cluttered counter. I like my counters very clean. So having just the bowl of fruit and a beautiful bowl or a bowl that I care about or is meaningful to me, it does something for me when I go in my kitchen. It makes me really happy to walk in my kitchen and see that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So nothing practical.
Do you have a funny story?
Oh, gosh.
When it comes to hospitality, have you ever had guests over and had a disaster or something funny you can share?
I have had... I don't remember any off the top of my head. I wish I would have thought about this question before. I don't have any off the top of my head. There has definitely been disasters. There's definitely been the clogged toilet. There's definitely been our dog came and ate something that you brought in your suitcase, like a snack or something. Oh God, so awful. There's definitely been the kid that spends the night that wets the bed, and you don't want them to feel awkward or uncomfortable, and you want them to feel like they're protected and the secret's safe with you. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing where it's something uncomfortable to talk about, but I think it's important to talk about, is when people's children are at your house, that you make them feel like they can talk to you and can be open with you if they need something, even if it's just a glass of water. Yes. So one of the things I have in my kitchen is a snack drawer, and it's a bottom drawer. So any kid, any size can get in there. And it's always got granola bars and chips and whatever, just snacks. And so if a little kid, God forbid, doesn't like the food you make, which is going to happen, they can have a snack. Or they're just hungry and they are on a different schedule than your family, they can feel free to eat something. And I always show them where it is. And then I show them where the cups are usually. Like, here's where you can get a cup for a glass of water.
Yes.
So I like to show even pretty small kids, they're usually fine.
Very important.
They feel important, and they feel like they're an important part they're part of the hostessing, situation, and they are loved on. So I usually show kids things. The other thing I do is, if a kid, I have cots and I have blow up mattresses for extra kids, in addition to the guest room. And if someone has an accident, in the morning, I usually go and check kids' beds, mostly just because there's something sharp and there's candy in the bed, not usually because of that. But if I notice something's different, or the child comes or the mother comes to my attention, I don't say anything. I just, I got it. Mm-hmm. I do the whisper, I got it. I strip the sheets while the kids are out playing, so they don't even know.
Like you were just going to wash them anyway.
I got to wash all the sheets today. I make it like they don't, it's not that I didn't notice. I throw in the washing machine. I have a couple extra sets of twins sheets.
You just throw new ones on.
Throw new ones on and act like it never happened.
I think
I think kids who have had accidents in our house have come over again and again. And they don't feel uncomfortable. And I don't want them to feel that way. And it's obviously like a complex issue with kids. And it doesn't matter the age of kids. It's not just a 3-year-old. So we've had older kids that have had the same issue at our house. And my kids don't know that it happened either. Right? It's completely no kid. No one knows. It's literally something it's lock and key for me. My husband doesn't even know. I mean, just no one knows. I just take care of it.
Yes.
And if the mother and I talk about it or the parents talk about it, that's fine. There's a conversation. But I don't ever want a kid who has an accident at my house to feel uncomfortable and feel ashamed. And sometimes I'll go, oh, hey, I'm doing a little laundry. You want to do some clothes? If I notice something. Right. Hey, I'm doing all the dirty clothes. Let me grab your clothes so you can bring clean clothes home. And I mean, you just give them the wink. I usually give them the wink and they give me everything. And then I'll go wash it and fold it and stick it back wherever they need it. But anyway, it's one of those things you don't think about when you're hosting, but it's so important.
But when you have your own little kids or have raised small kids, it actually, I know in my house, when I had lots of young kids over, I would put down waterproof mattress pads.
Yeah, you have the mattress pads.
And you can, before it even happens, you can kind of introduce the topic with the mom as if we know this can be a problem.
Right. I've never done that. I should do that.
Waterproof mattress pads.
We do have waterproof mattress pads.
Twin or queen.
Yeah, I have them. Yeah.
But if you say, something like, hey, we have waterproof mattress pad on the bed for the kids. I mean, if anything happens, don't worry about it.
Right. Tell the mom to not worry about it too. Yeah. That's a good idea. I don't do that.
Or not, ahead of time.
Right.
It kind of gives them the, hey, we know
and
this
sometimes
can be a problem. Don't worry about it.
Right. And sometimes the kid is they're nervous in a new environment and they don't usually even do it at home, but because they're in a new environment and they don't feel comfortable, they do it. And I want to be aware of that too. So no, it's fine, but I don't.
Some kids are just really, really deep sleepers. There's lots of reasons.
And there's deep sleepers and they're in a new home and they don't know where the bathroom is. And I have night lights that lead from the kids' room to the bathroom. Our house is very small, by the way. This isn't like this. We have this huge house with a guest suite. And so that's why we host 1 million people. We have a small house, but we do have a guest room with an attached bathroom, which helps. And that makes a huge difference. But I do have night lights for kids who come and stay so that they can find them. They annoy me when I'm at home. It's just my kids. Sometimes I pull them out because they're too bright for me. Right. But I plug them in when we have guests so they can get to the bathroom.
At least if you can unplug them, so can the guests. It's a great option.
Exactly.
Because
it's for the little kids.
Scared of the dark.
Exactly. It's for the little guys. The adults are fine, but it's for the little guys when they stay upstairs with my kids. I put those in there so that they can feel.
Well, that's great for guests. I know in our house, and I don't know where, I'm sure you can find them. This was a special when you walk down a seasonal aisle at Sam's Club one time. Yeah. It's been the greatest purchase ever. But it was I guess a 2-pack because we have 2 of them, but they're night lights that you plug in the bathroom that are motion detectors.
Oh my gosh, I need some of those.
You need some.
I do. So I need some. So when they walk in the hallway, I've seen them. I've seen the motion detector ones. So I've seen those. I should buy those.
We have them in our bathrooms. The hallway would be genius for guests.
Yes, I need to do that.
We have them in our bathroom, and so as soon as you walk in the bathroom, it comes on, and it's just the smallest little glow, but it's enough.
Just enough.
It's just enough where you're
to not feel scared if you're a little good.
You can go to the bathroom in the night, do whatever you need to do.
Right.
In fact, that's the only thing I use in the morning when I'm trying to wake up. When I first stagger into the bathroom, that motion light, little tiny motion
that's all you need.
Goes
that's all
on.
you need.
And it's like, that's what I have to acclimate to before I turn on the real light.
That is so funny. That's funny.
So I would highly recommend those too. And you can have those in the room, in the hallway, because then when the kid moves or if they get out of bed to go to the bathroom, it comes on.
Right.
But it's not on all night.
Right.
So anyway, that's reminding me. I probably
lots of
buy
things.
A couple more.
It's so funny. Lots of things to talk about in the guest overnight space. I mean, there's so many things that you can do, but I think having people over for dinner, it's just an extension of that, right? It's the same thing. It's preparation. It's thinking about what would make you comfortable when you would go to someone else's house, or what sort of if you can conjure back, like, what did it feel like to have my best experiences with others, and then trying to recreate that in your home. And then, so just extend the hours, right? It's not just a dinner at 6, but then to the next morning or the next day at lunch. What does that look like and feel like? You don't need to clean up all around when your guests are there the whole time. Right. Now, when I do overnight guests, though, I do say this. When my overnight guests go to their room, their guest quarters, if you will,
guest quarters,
and shut the door, I spend 10 to 20 minutes picking up. I straighten things. I get the pillows, you know, I kind of, so they don't wake up and it's like, oh my gosh, we left a disaster last night. You know, I put the dishes in the sink. I wipe up some things. I move laundry. I go and check the restroom. I kind of just do a walkover, just like you would a mom at night.
Yes.
You know, kind of the same thing with littles where you pick up at night. I do the same thing. So when the guests wake up, it's not chaos in the morning. I, you know, straighten everything out and
I love that.
pick up. But yeah, again, it's like, okay, they're coming over at 6. What did I do to prepare for them then? Thinking about what you loved about being at someone's house, or hotel or whatever it is, and just kind of creating that whole experience all the way to the next day is kind of my goal usually. Mm-hmm.
I have a really funny story of trying to anticipate what a guest would like. I really do try to find out if they're cold-natured or hot-natured.
Yes.
I'm cold-natured, so I always
We're the same. We're always cold.
Yes, we're always
All
cold.
my worst memories are always, I was cold.
I remember the blankets. So
yes,
I would
me
be the one
too.
who would put way too many blankets on somebody's bed, pile the blankets in, and then they're boiling hot, and so they need a fan. I have had a guest stay who's just very hot-natured, and of course up north, I've had to remember, be sure to tell them they can crack a window.
Right.
There's a fan.
Right.
But one time I tried to anticipate, another thing you tell them to do is close the vent. Like if they're cold.
Yes, I do the same thing if the heater's on. I'm like, I tell them I'm like, here's the vent. It gets warm in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But one time, this was years ago, my twin sister was coming to visit, and she lived up north, and I was still in the south. And in the south, you run air conditioning all the time in the summertime.
Right, of course.
But I'm thinking, well, I wonder if it'll be too hot at night for her. She's used to the cold.
Right.
Up north, it's always chillier, and so maybe I should keep the air running all night. To keep her
comfortable.
She'd be comfortable.
Was she freezing? Oh my gosh.
She said she froze all night.
Yeah.
And I mean, she knew where our blanket cabinet was, so hopefully, I think she got a couple of extra blankets.
But still.
She talked about how cold it was.
But she's your identical twin sister, so she can sense where things are.
Yes.
Where a stranger would be like, oh, it's freezing all night.
Yes, I was mortified. I'm like, I kind of left the air
But air conditioning cold.
Like that.
Yes, but air conditioning cold, as you know, because we're both from hot places. Air conditioning cold is different than outside cold.
Yes.
So I actually can do outdoors cold sometimes better than I can do air conditioning cold.
Air
Like a grocery store,
shut
it down. A grocery store, I need a parka, I need extra socks, I gotta have a beanie on just to go to the grocery store, right? But I can do, a fall walk, I can manage it, right? So it's funny, it's like a different feeling.
Because you're moving too.
Yeah, it's just different. You're outdoors.
Usually.
But if I'm laying still, oh my gosh, I'm cold. I'm
So
cold right now in
after
this
that,
room.
I cranked up the temperature, and we were both comfortable.
Yeah, it's so funny. Right now, I'm wearing jeans, long sleeve shirt. We're in a place that's not. I'm cold because I've been sitting still.
Right.
My feet are freezing right now.
Yes. Well, on that note, we should end it. So
No, it's
walk.
fine. It's fine. But yeah.
And warm up her toes.
Yes, and warm my toes. But thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. I have enjoyed this conversation so much because so far we have not talked about overnight guests and tied dinners into having extended company. And so I have loved the ideas that have come from this conversation.
Oh yeah,
the thing. Definitely implement
the Mexican food the next morning. If you scramble eggs and put some of the meat in it and fresh salsa, is delicious. So you can actually kind of continue and use a lot of those same leftovers in an omelet and for breakfast the next day. So you've got a 2-for-1 there if you've got overnight guests.
You could even make a breakfast burrito.
We make breakfast burritos all the time.
I love those.
You just scramble the eggs and put everything else there.
I haven't mentioned it already.
Yeah.
The raw tortillas you can buy in the grocery store are the best.
Yeah.
And you literally cook them on each side for 30 seconds.
Right.
And they're in the refrigerated section. They are. I discovered them just a couple of years ago. I'm sure they've been around a lot longer.
Yeah, they've been around. I'm not a huge fan of those.
You're not?
But some people love them. It's just it's a personal taste, though. I'm sure my guests would love them too.
You just buy the package.
Yeah, I buy the packaged tortillas. Yeah, and I usually, when I was in Phoenix, sometimes we get homemade tortillas, which are always the best.
Now,
obviously,
if I could have that option.
if we could have homemade tortillas here,
that's
that is the option.
Does anybody make them up here? Is there any
I don't
kind
know.
of Tex-Mex or Mexican up here?
No. Okay. Not that I know of.
Not that you know of.
I mean, if you find out, let us know.
To be discovered. If
to be
knows,
discovered. To be determined and to be discovered.
Because if someone was making their own tortillas and sold them, I would be all about.
Oh, me too. I would pay in gold bars for those.
Well, maybe I'll start making.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There is money to be made here because I will.
Come to my house. house.
I will.
With
I
your
will.
gold bars.
I will pay one gold bar for one gold tortilla.
Whoa. Hey, listeners,
Gold doubloons.
I've got to go make some homemade tortillas. Bye.
Yeah, make some sauce. I'll make salsa. I'll bring it.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan. We've got to go. More important things. No, really, this has been fun. You can find all of the recipes, and I will post all of her tips, changes, additions.
Yes, additions. I'm sure I forgot all the things. So
we'll
add.
Make sure it's printed up, and so you can just do a quick print from a PDF.
Yes,
and
yes, we can do that.
Comeoverfordinner.com, and yeah, like and share the show with your friends. Thank you.
Happy fall, y'all.
Happy fall, y'all. Till next